Well, this is John Black, Super Chemist. It's another Sunday. Like I said, every Sunday I'm gonna try to put out a sermon, PASTAFARAIN sermon. I think this is the sixth one. Anyways, we're gonna talk about a story. We're gonna call our story "Cause It Just Is," okay? And then we'll go over the moral of the story, okay? So, anyways, there's this girl, maybe 14 years old, and she's there with her mother. Mother's teaching her how to cook, like a roast. And if you don't know what a roast is, it's just basically a big slab of meat that you put in and cook it in a big pot. So, anyways, they're putting they unwrap the roast, and the mother cuts off just a little bit on each end of the roast, like maybe a quarter inch on each end, and then she puts the roast into the pot, and the daughter says, "Why did you cut off the ends?" And she says that it keeps the juices in or something like that. And the daughter's like, "Well, if you want to keep the juices in, wouldn't you not cut it? You know what I mean? You cutting it makes the juices come out." And the mother's like, "Well, maybe yeah." She goes, "I'm not really sure why I cut off the ends." She just said that's what my mother taught me to do. So the daughter and the mother go to the daughter's grandmother, which would be the mother of the mother, right? And they go to the grandmother's, and they ask her, "Why do you cut off the ends on the roast before you put it in the pan?" And she says that the ends are not good. It's not nutritious, and so you cut off the ends. And the mother and the daughter was like, "Well, that doesn't really make much sense. Why would you cut off the ends?" And the grandmother admits, she's like, "Well, I'm not really sure we cut off the ends. I don't know. I just know that my mother told me to do that, and that's why I do." So they go talk to the great grandmother. They ask her, "Why do we cut off the ends and put it before we put it in the pot?" And she says how the ends taste bad. And they're like, all three of them are like, "Well, does it really taste bad? Is that really why we do it?" The grandmother is like, "Well, I actually don't really know why. I just do it because, my mother taught me to do that. You always cut the ends on. You have to. I'm not exactly sure why, but I know that we have to." Okay. And the grandmother and the mother also agreed that they don't know why they cut the ends off, but they know that they have to do it. It's needed. They don't know why, but so then they go to talk to the great grandmother. The great great grandmother, the one that's 100 years old, is on deathbed, doorstep. They ask her, why do we cut off the ends of the roast before we put it in the pan, in the pot? And the old lady, the great great grandmother, she says, she's thinking and thinking, and then she says, "Oh, I know why. I remember when you kids was little, and when you were growing up, we was poor, until you basically moved out. You got the kids out of the house, and we had more money. We were too poor. We only had one pot. And, we go to roast. We get our roast. We got it at John's butcher's shop. Because John was our friend, and we had to buy our stuff from him. And his roasts were about this big, right?" And she goes, "But the pan that we only had one big pan for roast to cook it in. And it was a 1 inch or ½ inch too small. So we would cut the ends off of the roast so that the roast would actually fit in the pan." Now, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story is maybe you should reevaluate things that you know or that are facts, that maybe they're not facts. Maybe you've just been told it over generation after generation, and it's really nonsense on what you're doing. You're doing nonsense like cutting off the ends of the roast so you can put it in the pan because the pan is too small, even though your pan 10 generations later is well big enough to fit the roast in. It's like, the Christians, I did a playlist called Swearing and Cursing, talking about how swearing really, you ask anyone about swearing, why is it wrong? Well, I don't know. It just is. You're like, well, is it in your Bible? No, it's not in my Bible. Does God tell you that it's bad? No, God don't tell me. I just know. Just because it is. Because it just is what they say. Because it just is. That's all. They have no answer. They know they don't have an answer, but they still continue to say, because it just is. You know what I mean? And then what happens? That leads to pronouns. The swearing thing was basically, it's just a racist thing that rich people, would look down on poor people because they use certain synonyms like shit and and they want to use excrement, you know what I mean? Or today they want to use poop, but these words are the same. They're synonyms. That means they mean the exact same thing. Neither one is evil and neither one is good. They're both the same words. Same with the pronouns. They want you to not, God gave you reality. He wants you to, turning your back on reality is a sin. Okay, and I've said this many times. It is an actual sin because God gave you reality, and if you're going to turn your back on reality, and you're going to embrace lies, then you are sinning. Okay, you are spitting in his face from his gift of reality to you. Okay, and that's why today, we got the pronouns. Oh well, you got it's impossible to know someone's gender before you meet them. Okay, so how can you gender someone by their if you're going to use pronouns, use them by their gender? That's impossible. Okay, you have a guy with a beard, total beard, but he's dressed up like a girl with a dress and makeup. How do you don't know what that is? That could be 50 different genders. I don't have time for that crap. You know what I mean? And then it's like that old movie. The kid is smoking pot or something, and the dad smokes pot, and that's who we learned it on. Dad's like, why are you doing this, smoking pot? Where did you learn it? And the kid says, I learned it off of you, Dad. I learned it off of you. It's just like these Christians today. They're like, what? Where did these crazy woke people come up with these pronouns? Where did they learn this from? They want us to disregard reality, and use these made-up pronouns for them. I have to disavow reality and just go along with it. Yeah, where did they get it from? They got it from the Christians, who do the same thing. They arbitrarily picked words that are evil, and they say are evil, even though they just arbitrarily picked them. And we all have to go by those pronouns or those synonyms. You know what I mean? And it's just like today with, you got Trump is Trump racist? The guy who was an activist for black people for 50 years and during his presidency, you ask these people that think he's racist, well, why is he racist? What did he do that's racist? All of them. Well, because he just is. Because he just is. Because it just is. When you say those words, just because it is, that means you're an idiot. Okay, you're not being a Pastafarian. You're spitting in God's face because you're spitting in his reality that he gave you as a gift. Okay, Kamala is a great politician. And then you go, what did she do? No one can answer. They all have the same answer. Because she just is. Because it just is. You know what I mean? The earth is so hot it will boil away. Now we can look at that and know that that's BS. But instead, some people will just say, I don't know why. I just know it is. It just is. I don't have to have facts and data. Even if I have facts and data that go against it, it doesn't matter. Because it just is. Because it just is. Now, Pastafarian should be wary anytime that he uses this phrase. Because it just is. Okay? And if you find yourself using this phrase, when you answer questions and you talk to people or you debate something, You need to realize that you're committing a sin. You're spitting in God's gift, and his gift is reality, okay? That's why, to a Pastafarian, lying is the worst thing. And I'm not talking about, murder and rape and all that. I'm talking about after you take out the obvious evil stuff. You're just down to the regular sin. Lying is number one. Lying is number one, okay? That and cheating on your spouse. Those are the number one things that is a sin in the Pastafarian religion. And I want you to think about this when it comes to this phrase, because it just is. Because Trump just is. Because Kamala, it just is. It just is. I don't need to justify it. I just know it is, okay? See, this leads to a habit, okay? And a habit, that's what everyone's life is about. Everybody's life is about habit. You know what I mean? And you got two choices. You can either have good habits or you can have bad habits. You have these Gen Z women or girls, basically 18, years old or whatever, in their 20s, saying how they're going to party for 20 years and they're going to sleep with hundreds of men and go through their hoe phase. And then when they're 30, that's when they're going to settle down and they're going to be a mother and they're going to be a wife. Okay? But that isn't the way life works. Life works from habit. Okay? And if you have a habit of the 10 years of just partying and not caring about anyone, you have no husband you have to compromise with, you have, what do you think is going to happen? It's like the guy who says, well, I'm just going to do drugs for 20 years or 10 years, then I'm going to quit. That's going to happen because after you get a habit of drugs after 10 years, everyone just quits, like it's nothing, just like that guy or that woman or girl or whatever, you never clean your house, your place looks like crap, okay, but when you get married, you're going to change. That's what the Gen Z woman will say. Well, yeah, but I don't clean my house because I'm going to wait until I get that man. I'm going to wait till I get that, that husband. And then I'm going to be a wife. Then I'm going to be, but you've been a slob for 10 years. Okay? Slobs, once they get in the habit of it being slobs, because I'm a slob. Okay? Trust me. Once you're in the habit of anything, it's hard to get out of. And when it comes to critical thinking, that one phrase, because it just is. Because it just is. If you get into the habit of saying that, then you might as well just never even think again. You know what I mean? Just whatever CNN or Fox News tell you, just regurgitate it like a brain dead moron, okay? And get into that habit. And you know what will happen 10 years, 5 years from now? You'll never stop that habit. You'll never wake up. Then that's when the brainwashing, because now you can't wake up. You can't critically think. And then the propaganda takes even more form and takes over even more because it just is. Because it just is. I want you to all have a great day. It's Sunday. My sermon was only 15 minutes long, which is what it should be, between 15 and 30 minutes. Last week, I got a little carried away with 5 or 6 15-minute videos for my sermon. So I'm glad this one is kind of a short sermon. And I want to bless you all. Have a blessed day, and so have a great day. Have a Pastafarian day.